round number 3 of the Canadian Sim Racing Series kicks off here with the Reno-Mato Group of Companies Twin 200s, part 1 of this road race challenge. Brought to you again by the Reno-Mato Group of Companies. My name is Steve Ovens, alongside my good friends here for the Canadian Sim Racing Series, Todd Lewis and Dave Bradley. And Todd, we are about to see a 56-lap race here, round number 3 here at CTMP. We do have scheduled stage breaks of 21 and 42 laps here today. We're probably going to see about 4 pit stops made in all. And if the public qualifier was any indication of what we're going to see here this evening, we are in, as well as our fans are in for a treat today.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun tonight, as it has been in the first couple of weeks on ovals, but now we get the chance to see them go on the road course, the famed circuit at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. 10 turns, a lot of opportunities for passing, a lot of opportunities for drama, and I think you're right, Stephen, that the competition cautions at lap 21 and 42 are going to make for a really interesting strategy. Will it be 4 pit stops? Will it be someone who tries to maybe stretch out the fuel at some point and maybe do it in 3 stops? That could come into play. It's going to be a bit of a feel-out process too, to see where guys fall in because of the speeds. There's going to be tire wear that you're going to have to deal with. You're going to be quicker at the start of the run. How bad is the tire degradation going to be? I think we're going to see a lot of action and a lot of excitement tonight.
Dave Bradley, we saw Alex Ellis pick up the win in the public qualifier earlier today. Also ran in the sports car event, the GT sports car event on Saturday afternoon. He even through a mistake on course, getting off course down in the hairpin, was able to use pit strategy to come back. And I think that's what we're going to see here this evening.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be pit strategy, but one thing that sticks out in my mind is the lack of a full course caution. We'll have those 2 race breaks, but we won't have a full course caution to slow the field here. So it's going to be you using your head to try and get your way back into this race if you find trouble early. But Todd's right. This place is fantastic. There are a load of place to pass. Great opportunities at every single turn, and there will be strategy playing out. Just because you have a break doesn't automatically mean you're going to stop and get 4 tires on this race car. Some drivers may opt to take 2, some may roll the dice and take no tires, fuel only. We'll have to wait and see how this all plays out.
Dave, the other part of it too, I think, is that that's going to be interesting, is that we're possibly going to see someone try to do it on 3 stops. It is possible. You can go about 15 laps or so on fuel, so maybe we will see someone try to stretch it out, go a little bit off schedule, if you will. That could be a way to see it play out.
So as they work their way, this is one of the high-speed areas of the track here, Dave, where we've seen, I tried to turn a few laps myself out here, and it was this part of the race course that really, makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up, because you are on the gas, and those back tires want to kick out on you before you get here to turn 8.
And turn 8 used to be a wonderful passing opportunity. It really hasn't shown its hand like that in recent years. It's now building through turn 9 into turn 10. There is your passing opportunity as the field makes their way through turn 10. They'll see the green flag this time by. We are underway here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and we got problems early.
We've got big problems right here at the start-finish line. Several cars involved. One of the Lap Savage cars involved there, the 76, I believe that's Caden, and the 26 of Trent Ringler. Todd Lewis, that broke loose in a hurry here on the drop of the green.
Sure did. Caden Lapsevich looked like he got a little bit of help from behind from the 26 of Trent Ringler, who's having his difficulties getting turned around and getting going, and has had more contact, finding his way through corner number 1, and now sees himself stuck into the barriers. As the rest of the field continues to stream along, we're not going to see full course cautions, local cautions at the front of the field, though. Everybody seems to be moving along smoothly, with Alex LeBay leading Kevin Lacroix as they make their way out onto that long and ready straightaway down the backstretch, as you talked about, going up through into 4th gear. top speed as they get down towards corner number 8, and then have to slow down these stock cars for that combination through the S's.
And you can watch as they just gingerly make their way through 8 into turn number 9. And it looks like everybody's settling in single file at this point. And yes, we'll be single file through turn number 10. But you have to think, too, especially with trouble so early in this race, that points implications are a factor here today. We have a very, very tight points battle at the front of the field. Blake Reinhardt on 157 points. Just one single point back is Raphael Lessard, and then 3 points back of the leader, 5 points back of the leader. My math is that good. Michael Morley. So, and there's Morley there in the 6 up on the outside as he loses several spots. Now he gets back in the gas and heads towards turn number 4.
And that was a pass that Raphael Lessard put on Morley there to take over position number 5. So for the first time here this afternoon, Raphael Lessard moves up into the top 5. Morley, who put on a clinic of a run in the final green-white checkered finish at Charlotte last week, picked off several cars late in the going to come home with a second-place effort, which has put him that high up in the point standings. But guys, our race leader, Alex Labbe, not far behind these guys in the points, only 12 markers back of the points leader, and he leads them off turn number 10.
And this is just race number 3, so we'll see Alex Labbe, who looks to be quite comfortable out in front of that 74 machine of Kevin Lacroix right now. We have seen when Kevin Lacroix has raced on the track at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, he is not afraid to make moves, and that is the 4 of the Raphael Lessard and Alex Gannett, who are now doing battle. Alex Gannett, who had a strong qualifying and rolled off 3rd, is now feeling the pressure from behind. Raphael Lessard is trying to pick up every position that he can and keep those leaders in sight. Still in the early going, though. Lap 3 of 56 to come.
Now, Gannett might be one of those drivers who wants to back off early on, save his stuff, and maybe potentially setting the stage for one of those strategy moves early in the race, and may let it play out over the course of it, because you know that Kevin Lacroix in the 74, you know he's going to be fast here at a place like Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. You know Alex Labbe is going to be fast here, so what can you do to beat him? You might be able to outthink them and roll the dice early. So you save your stuff, maybe your tires last a little bit longer, maybe you can get an extra lap on fuel, and that might play to your benefit later on.
And you're right, Dave, that's going to be the key, is how do you play the fuel strategy? How do you handle the competition cautions at lap 21 and 42? Maybe your strategy is a little bit different. 15 laps on fuel should not be a problem for these cars. The way the competition cautions are scheduled to fall on 21 and 42, you may wind up hitting around the competition cautions instead of during them. But what we've seen in other events is that track position is key here. And if you have the track position in the late going, it can serve you well at the end of the race.
So as the top 5 gives each other plenty of racing room to work with here around this 10-turn road course, checking in with a couple of drivers that worked their way in through the public qualifier at 11 o'clock this morning. Right now we're keeping an eye on Mackenzie Corrins and Alex Ellis, who currently run 15th and 16th. They have charged their way through the field, guys, from 40th and 41st place. And this was a story that we talked about earlier this afternoon, was just how hard these guys were going to run in this first run of the race here before we make our first pit stop. Is you've got one car that gets off track in front of them. There's another spot for both of them as they'll work through the hairpin corner there and start to work their way uphill. These guys are being aggressive early, trying to gain that track position.
Well, when you're starting back in the 41st and 42nd position, you're going to have to be a little bit aggressive, especially in the early going. But both these drivers proved themselves to be very quick in the last chance qualifier this morning. Both had no problem staying up near the front of the field, and they should be fun to watch as this one moves along.
And you have to think, too, their qualifying times were about 2 seconds a lap quicker than some of the drivers who were immediately in front of them in this grid. So just because they had to come up through that last chance qualifier, or the public qualifier earlier on today, didn't mean they were necessarily slower cars. So they were quick. They just had some work cut out for them early on. It looks like so far they've kept their noses relatively clean. I mean, there has been some bumping along the way, but nothing too major. So they're sitting pretty at this point.
Alex LeBay with a 1.5 second lead over Kevin Lacroix. Lacroix running in the 2 spot in car number 74 in the bumper-to-bumper sponsored machine. You get an overhead shot here, looking at the difference between first and second as they start to climb their way uphill, heading toward turn number 8.
Oh, yes, the fun part of the racetrack where it's just foot to the floor, get through up into 4th gear, and hang on for as long as you can. Kevin Lacroix is a little bit of a stretch behind Alex LeBay right now. He's not going to be able to feel the effects of the draft. I don't think he's close enough, but he does want to keep him in sight. You want to be out near the front where Kevin Lacroix is in second place, though. He's not really feeling a challenge from behind, so there's no reason to be overly aggressive at this point. Keep your competition close and in sight and ahead of you, and be ready to make the move if necessary, but still in the very early going.
Looks like Gannett and Morley have both picked up the pace, and now they're catching the Mobil 1 number 4 of Raphael Lessard, who cut through the field early on, but was he too hard on those tires in the early going? Again, 6 laps in the books of a scheduled 56 here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and you have to always be thinking about saving your equipment, getting those extra laps as we keep our eye on this battle for 4th spot.
Watching Lessard working ahead of Gannett and the 6 of Morley as they work around a little bit of slower traffic there through turns 5A and 5B, start to work their way up the hill here. And again, like you guys said, this is the hammer down portion of the racetrack as you see those guys really not gaining or losing ground on one another. It's still Lessard right now in the 4th spot in that Mobil 1 sponsored machine. And he is just behind the 32 of Trayton Lapsevich, who is looking forward, hopefully here in 2020, of making his first couple of NASCAR Pinty Series starts aboard that 32. And Todd, he's been impressive here in these iRacing events, without a doubt.
Sure has done a lot of iRacing on different platforms. We are now getting to see him on the road course as well. And for a youngster, he still looks very comfortable in that car. It can be a challenge to handle these big cars at times, but Trayton Lapsevich seems to be taking to it very comfortably. Of course, he comes from great bloodlines and his family full of racers, and Caden Lapsevich, his brother, is a NASCAR Pinty Series champion. They have learned from their dad and the rest of their family as well, and Trayton Lapsevich has found his way into a comfortable 3rd place position right now, moving up a couple of spots from the start, but again, not really facing too tough a challenge from behind from Raphael Lessard, and he has Kevin Lacroix in his sights directly ahead of him. Now's the time, about halfway through a fuel run, where you can sort of assess where your car is and what it's going to be like in the second half of the run as we make our way through this race.
And you talk about the bloodlines, Todd, especially here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. The father of Trayton and Caden, of course, Jeff Lapsevich, forever the bridesmaid here, unfortunately, at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. I think he had 4 consecutive second-place finishes and just wanted to win so badly. And for one reason or another, couldn't make it happen. But definitely a talented road racer, talented racer in general, and no doubt lending some of that expertise to his young son.
Dave, I think it was you that had brought up the points race and how close the points were coming into tonight. A story that we haven't really had a chance to touch on just yet, watching these guys battle inside the top 5. Our point leader, Blake Reinhardt, got involved in some of those early mix-ups right off the drop of the green flag. Reinhardt started 4th, guys. He's currently running in 35th position, still currently on the lead lap, but it has not been a very easy go of it here for your point leader, Blake Reinhardt, who came into the night with just a 1-point advantage on Lessard, who right now runs in 4th.
Yeah, that's a very good position for Raphael Lessard to be taking advantage of. Blake Reinhardt having the early difficulties, but you mentioned, Stephen, it is early difficulties, still just on lap 8 coming in. There will be opportunities still being on the lead lap. Once the field bunches up during the competition cautions, that could be the opportunity for Blake Reinhardt to make his way forward and pick up a few positions. As we see, one of the cars has gone off course but seems to be getting his way back on now. And this is the difficulty and the challenge around the CTMP, is that there are a lot of places that you can go off and find yourself in trouble in a pretty quick fashion.
Yeah, definitely. This place will punish you if you make a mistake, and that is one of the difficulties around racing here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, especially this turn here. Turn 2, one of the most difficult in North America, and it's an off-camber, hidden apex turn that you're just supposed to mat it and pretend you know where this corner is going to go. And if you get in trouble, you get in the grass, and there's really no slowing you down until you hit the tire wall. And so that is a huge punishment if you make a small mistake in turn number 2. And let's have another look at what happened to Anthony Simoni in the number 95. And it looks like a quick wiggle into the grass, and there it is. Turn 2 will bite you in a hurry.
Does manage to keep it off the tires, though, and Simoni backs it up, gets it back pointed in the right direction as we go back up front to see Alex Labbe. And that's, it looks like, is that Labbe that had trouble coming out of...
No, it doesn't look like. It looks like it's a 0-1 of Kyle Rochelle, who was crossways off in turn number 10. He manages to get it righted fairly quickly and avoids any other incident, but there was a couple cars who came pretty close.
My bad. I got fooled by the red and white car. My bad, but...
Could you imagine, though? That would really shake up this race.
Yeah, interesting that we are seeing cars making pit stops already, and there's Alex Labbe now, who is going to have to deal with a little bit of traffic. That's the number 91 of Jeremy Gagnon that will undoubtedly, he'll be able to find his way around. And then we look now for the number 74 of Kevin Lacroix, who is continuing to make his way around the course. And again, we're seeing cars that have found their way off course, just a slight mistake, and it will send you off course. Lacroix continues his pursuit of Alex Labbe, 10 laps in, a little bit of a gap, no real challenge to either Labbe or Lacroix from behind as well from Trayton Lapsevich, the top three.
Guys, we were talking about the problems for your points leader, Blake Reinhardt, right off the drop of the green here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. You look at the previous 2 races that we've had so far in this series. We had a lot of cautions at Charlotte in race number 2. We had a significant amount of cautions in race number 1. So, I mean, that really bunched the field. It slowed things down. It gave you an opportunity to get spots back, as now your race leader does come down pit lane. Alex Labbe finding pit lane. He'll have to hit that pit road speed limit right at that line. He brings it down, and keep an eye on the tack, but no full course cautions here. So again, this is going to all have to be done on speed for Blake Reinhardt.
Green flag pit stop here for Alex Labbe. Brings the 36 machine into pit stall number 1, and they will go to work on the left side tires. And let's see, I believe they will go to the right side tires as well. 4 tires and fuel here. And Todd, I don't think there's any real big surprise there. 4 tires and fuel early on.
I may as well take them at this point. It looks like the way Alex Labbe is setting up the strategy now is he will make this pit stop. I suspect he and others will make a second stop somewhere around the competition caution around lap 21, and then we'll get to the interesting part. We'll see where guys wind up stopping on the second half of the race or so. But it looks like Alex Labbe and a number of other drivers have decided to split this first portion of the race. We do have the competition caution coming around lap 21, but Alex Labbe in service, 4 tires, fuel, and back on his way, looking pretty comfortable.
Probably the biggest thing there too, no mistakes down pit road, because that can really cost you.
Raphael Lessard came down the pit lane for 4 tires and gas, and now Kevin Lacroix hits pit lane, and he hit the rear end of the 01 of Kyle Rochelle. He's got a little bit of front damage there on car number 74, so Lacroix having an issue here getting onto the pit lane. That might slow him up just a little bit, but what I would worry about is the front end damage. He could use the quick repair that he has. They have one quick repair that they can use here on the pit stop, but Lacroix down in gas only here. Gas only for Kevin Lacroix.
Guess he maybe wants to pick up some of that track position he was going to lose with the incident coming onto pit lane. Maybe he'll try and survive and handle the tires going through, but an interesting choice and a decision to try and take it with just fuel only. But again, maybe we'll see how the strategy plays out over the length of this race. This is just the first stop of what will be 3, maybe 4 stops for these drivers as we complete the 56 laps. But you don't want to have that difficulty as Kevin Lacroix did. He was trying to maximize his pit in lap, and there was a competitor in front of him in the way, and that wound up costing Kevin Lacroix.
Yeah, he was in full attack mode when he came into the pits, and there's a 34 gets a little bit loose. But look, you saw the car just flash through your screen there. That is Alex Labbe, so he is within striking distance of the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. And we know how good Kevin Lacroix can be here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, a past winner in the NASCAR Pinty Series. So he's very comfortable in these high-speed straightaways and tight and twisty, sometimes blind apex corners. So Kevin Lacroix is good, and he's very good at protecting his equipment as well. Of course, you have to put the asterisk beside the beat-up nose there. I don't think he was expecting that the closing rate was going to be as significant as it was coming into pit lane when he got into the back of the 01.
And that was pretty interesting to watch there as Lacroix hit the pit lane. And that surprised me during the public qualifier earlier today, guys, was, you know, I know you guys have seen quite a few more races here at CTMP than I have. I certainly haven't seen any in person. But, man, when they hit the pit lane, they are on the hammer. They are not wasting any time hitting pit road.
No, it's interesting how, and Dave, you're right, I think we'll agree, is how they'll come out of corner number 9 and then just dart across the track and shorten that stretch as much as you can and just make that turn into pit lane. It's trying to maximize every 1/10 of a second, get down to pit lane speed as quickly as you can. And it seems for the moment to have been okay for Kevin Lacroix. As you mentioned, he's got Alex Labbe in his sights as pit stops begin to cycle through.
But that closing rate between the 74 of Kevin Lacroix and the 01 of Kyle Rochelle, that just gives you an idea of experience versus inexperience here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Kevin Lacroix knows what to do. He knows you have to attack right up to that speed limit line. Kyle Rochelle was kind of easing it in. He didn't want to make any mistakes, and there it is. That just goes to show you at how much experience can make a difference on a track like this.
Alex Ellis has worked his way, after starting in 41st here this afternoon, has worked his way up into the top 5, but that was before he just made his pit stop. Ellis has now made his first pit stop of the day and currently runs in position number 10 on the racetrack. So it's been quite a journey to the front for Ellis, who now rides in the top 10.
But look that he's gone through to lap 14 before making that first pit stop. This may be the difference in the pit strategies that we're going to see play out through the length of this race. Ellis extended his pit stop in the qualifier earlier today, splitting the second half of the race in half, where most drivers would make 2 stops. He only made a single stop, and it played out beautifully for him. Maybe he's looking to take advantage and run the same way today. Going 14 laps per stop will get you to the end of this race on only 3 stops versus 4.
And Todd, I know there was a lot of drivers competing here tonight that were watching that public qualifier earlier, and you've got to believe that a lot of guys were doing just a little bit of scout work to see what the strategy could play out, because the qualifier and the main event here tonight, both 56 laps in distance, and a good opportunity for some guys to kind of scope out what things might look like here this evening.
Sure, the difference is, though, there was only 1 competition caution in the qualifier earlier today. There are 2 competition cautions in tonight's race at laps 21 and 42, which, if you're trying to play a fuel mileage race, should actually help you. You should have more laps under yellow and should make that decision to choose 3 stops versus 4 a little bit easier.
Getting some great overhead shots here as we are watching. One car got off course there, but we're watching this battle here between Michael Morley and Rafael Lessard. And Dave, Lessard falls back to the 5 spot as Morley getting aggressive here in traffic.
Yeah, that's Anthony Simoni in the 95 just ahead. Simoni's going to let the 2 drivers go through on the inside, but Rafael Lessard and Morley, they know each other quite well through this Canadian Sim Racing Series. I mean, they've been together pretty much the entire distance of this series. They found each other on track, so here they are once again nose to tail. Not really a surprise that they're doing it here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
So Alex LeBay continues to lead. He just crossed the line to put lap 16 on the board. That'll bring us 5 laps before we get our first competition caution, stage break, if you will, of this race. So we're 5 laps away from that, and drivers trying to get everything they can here before the first full course yellow of the event comes on lap 21.
And we're noticing that Brock Reinhardt, I think he's running in the 14th or 15th position, so he's been able to climb back up a little bit and give himself some help, along with Blake Reinhardt, who is also trying to climb back up after some early troubles. And this is the part with such a long race and multiple pit stops and strategies that even though Blake Reinhardt, the points leader, by a single point over Raphael Lessard, had troubles in the early going, there is an opportunity to climb back into this race and minimize the damage of those early difficulties. As who is that running wide?
Morley made a mistake.
Running wide. Yes, it is. And Lessard is going to take the spot.
Yeah, just it got in a little bit too deep, under braking, it pushed straight, and it's a common mistake into turn 5A. Turn 5 here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park is a unique corner because it's cut into 2 very distinct sections. You have a turn 5A and turn 5B, so it's going into turn 5A is where Morley made the mistake, and that's where you're under braking the hardest. This is a flashback into turn number 1, and it's uphill, and then your apex is right on the top of that hill, and Morley unfortunately missed it, and around through goes the 4 of Raphael Lessard. That's the quick replay, and Morley was quick-headed to get back on the gas, get back to the inside, and pick up the draft of the 4 cars. They head down the Mario Andretti straightaway.
Important to do that because coming out of 5B, Dave, it is so important to have that car pointed in the right direction because you build up so much speed, and if you don't get out of 5B properly, you're not going to be able to maximize your speed down that long straightaway and fall further behind.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the draft is so important, and you saw it on a couple of the onboard shots that we had headed down the Andretti straightaway, the big long backstretch here towards turn number 8. Watch the steering wheel and watch the driver's hands. Even in iRacing here, you can see the cars buffet from side to side as the aerodynamics and the draft is so very, very important here. Here's a good look. You just watch that orange line, how much it goes from side to side, back and forth, especially now that you're getting up to top speed towards the hill, down the hill. There it starts going hard under brake.
What a great look there from Michael Morley's 6th machine as he right now rides in position number 5. While we were watching this battle here between Lessard and Morley, Trayton Lapsevich, Todd, has moved his way up to position number 2. He got by Lacroix for the 2nd spot, so move the youngster Trayton Lapsevich up to 2nd.
Looking very comfortable in that number 32 machine, has shown plenty of speed and plenty of smarts and savvy of a more mature racer in previous rounds. As mentioned, he has an awful lot of sim racing experience, and he is putting it to good use here. He has climbed so far ahead of Kevin Lacroix. I'm wondering if Lacroix maybe had a little bit of a problem, but Trayton Lapsevich looking good and in a very good position right now as we're through to lap 18. A few laps and everyone will get bunched up again. And then it'll be the question, will anyone make pit stops? Will they make a second stop? Will they prefer to have the track position? This is going to get very interesting over the next few laps.
Well, you know what's funny, Todd, is that Kevin Lacroix may be going to school here. So he has done the dice roll early on. He took no tires, just fuel on his pit stop, and now he knows exactly what those tires are going to do. So if you split this race into 2 halves, so you've got the race to the first break and the race to the second break and onward, so you know exactly how long your tires are going to last, how well they'll react, especially late in a run. So 19 laps in the books, and the 74 is still on the same tires he started this race with. It's obviously not as competitive as somebody who took 4 tires during that pit stop. So, I mean, you put that in the bank, you note it, and you say, maybe on our final stop we should be taking 4 tires because we're going to get walked away from if we don't.
And you're right, Dave. This is going to be the interesting part with the strategies to watch them as they play out moving forward. Who's going to take 2 tires? Who's going to take 4 tires? Are you going to stop during the competition cautions, or are you going to try to alter your strategy and go away from that? As we see the 4 of Raphael Lessard, who is closing hard on that 74 of Kevin Lacroix. Again, as Dave, you mentioned, without the fresh tires, Lessard should be able to overtake him in pretty short order.
And you can just see under braking how much of a benefit those new tires are, or newer tires, because they're not new anymore the way Raphael Lessard has been abusing them. But you can see how hard he's able to push into the turns and get more under braking compared to the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. And we mentioned before, Kevin Lacroix is no slouch here in the Lacroix tuning number 74 here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. But you see for Lessard, he catch a car in the wrong place, in the wrong corner, and you lose so much grip.
Alex Labay coming across the line here. That's going to put lap number 20 on the board. And guys, we are just 1 lap away here from our first competition yellow of the afternoon. The first stage coming to a close as, wow, you saw the back tires start to slide around there for Labay, who is currently working down through turn number 3, a very tricky turn as they get ready to come down into the hairpin corner.
Alex Labay sure doesn't look like he is slowing down at all as we get towards that first competition caution. Full slide coming through the corner and now making his way along the Andretti straightaway down the back, picking up full speed, still running out in front. He will head towards corner number 8 and the S's before making his way back out into the front straight, but no real challenge right now. That will change once we get the competition caution and bunch this field back up, and then we see whatever pit stop strategy comes into play with these drivers and how it'll all shake out for the restart.
As long as I've watched Alex Labay drive a race car in any form of race car, be it a late model, super late model, an Xfinity Series car, or the NASCAR Pinty Series, he doesn't have a cruise control, or at least if he does, it's still very fast. So that's exactly what Alex Labay is doing here today.
Trying to see who that was that jumped onto pit lane just before we get to this competition caution, as we see a couple of cars doing that now. Interesting that they're making their stop just before the competition caution, maybe looking to hopefully have it play out in terms of track position. After we go yellow, the pit stop cycle is completed, and then we return back onto the course. And it's the number 4 of Raphael Lessard, who has made the jump into pit lane a little bit earlier than the rest.
And there is Kevin Lacroix as well, the 74. You see him just pulling into his pit stall as Lessard gets released and heads down pit lane to rejoin the field. So another stop for Kevin Lacroix as he was feeling the pain from those worn Goodyear Eagle tires. He's going to get some new ones on, and now he'll rejoin the fray.
Caution.
Sorry, go ahead, Stephen.
Yeah, no, go ahead, Todd.
No, I was just going to say the yellow has come out. We're going to get the competition caution, and Lessard and Lacroix have already made their pit stops, so others now will come around and cycle through, and we'll have a chance to see who else is choosing to make stops, and whether it's for 2, 4, or 0 tires as we get set to move in through the middle portion of the race.
Now, based on what we just saw, guys, would it surprise you for drivers to maybe switch up strategy here after seeing that some cars came down the pit road?
I think somebody's going to roll the dice and take 2 tires and give that a shot, just to try and even things up a little bit. But you're right. The fact that some drivers came in early and made their stops, got their service, and got that all-important track position that Todd's been talking about, I think if you're down the field a little bit, you may try and roll the dice and take 2 tires. But Kevin Lacroix is a perfect example. 0 tires may not be the answer here today.
So no, yellow...
Definitely not taking 0 tires, especially as you go through the pit cycle and late in the race. You're going to want to have some fresher tires. But again, it's going to be the discussion or argument. Do you want a fresher set of tires, or would you rather have the track position and be in a defensive mode? Do you want to be in a defensive mode with maybe slightly worn tires, or do you want to be in attack mode with fresher tires?
Well, guys, we are about to find out here momentarily as they're going to be coming up on pit lane here before too long. Alex Labay shown as the race leader Drayton Lapsevich currently running in position number 2. What a great run for the youngster here so far today. Michael Morley running in 4th, Michael Morley running 3rd, Alex Gannett running 4th, and Mackenzie Corrance out of the public qualifier this morning, riding in position number 5. Alex Ellis also out of the public qualifier running in 6th. Those guys have been running nose to tail seemingly for the first 21 laps of this race as they've diced their way through the pack. Alex Labbe, Drayton Lapsevich, Michael Morley, decision time is now as they come into turn number 8. They'll come through 8, 9, and just before they hit 10, they will come down pit lane for their second pit stop of the day if they choose to pit now.
And we'll see whether or not those front runners go in. We'll see if Ellis and Corrance are the beneficiaries, having stopped a little bit later. Are they going to stay out on course and pick up a little bit of track position? Lessard and Lacroix, remember, chose to make their pit stops just before the competition caution. Are they going to benefit from the additional track position? We'll see how it shakes out, but we'll see these drivers make their scheduled stops now with Labbe and, with Lacroix and Michael Morley making their scheduled stops.
Important to not make a mistake right now. It's under caution. You have some time, a little bit extra time, not so much pressure. As a green flag stop, you see everybody hitting their box, and that's exactly what they needed to do. 4 tires for your race leader, or former race leader, the 36 of Alex Labbe. Lapsevich down and away as well. And Alex Gannett getting service. Morley is out, and he will rejoin the field too. So it looks like clean stops for those front runners who did come down pit lane.
We will step aside here. Dave has got some great words from some of our great sponsors to help put on the Canadian Sim Racing Series.
Today's race brought to you by LacroixTuning.com, proud title sponsor of the Canadian Sim Racing Series. LacroixTuning.com is the place to shop online for your wheel, suspension, and tire needs. We can even ship your tires mounted on new wheels right at your door. Chez Gerard Patat, proud supporter of motorsport for the last 20 years. Gerard Patat wins the race for best fries, hot dogs, and poutine in Quebec. If you ever come by, make a pit stop. You won't regret it. By Stone Ridge, let Stone Ridge Specialty Insurance Product protect your racing assets with liability and off-track coverage for your race teams, sponsors, competition vehicles, tools, and equipment. Call Stone Ridge Specialty Insurance today. And by Storewall.ca. Shop at Storewall.ca for all your garage storage needs. We import and sell premium wall-mounted slat wall storage solutions for home and business. Our complete line of product provides everything you need to officially organize and store items in your home and commercial spaces.
Still under caution at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and it looks like it is Raphael Lessard who has taken over the top spot as the pit stop cycle through. And Dave, I'm guessing that maybe that choice and decision to make the scheduled stop before the competition caution came out seems to have paid off for a few guys that have managed to find their way up front. That is Raphael Lessard, who is leading in that number 4 and currently in a very tight points battle with Blake Reinhardt, who is just a single point ahead of him, and Michael Morley, who is 4 points behind him. Will Raphael Lessard be able to stay out front of the field now is going to be the question, and see how he does alongside with some competition coming from behind. It has been Labbe and Lacroix who have been out front for the most part, but now he's going to feel the heat.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what's interesting is when they did make those pit stops, the number 4 of Raphael Lessard and the 74 of Kevin Lacroix, they merged back into the field. Lessard was still in the top 10, so that's how spread out this field managed to get during that long green flag run. The 74 of Kevin Lacroix came in a little bit later, but he still came back in, I think, 11th spot. So gives you an idea of how much track position you're going to lose or not lose after these long green flag runs and how the field can spread out. So that may play into strategy a little bit later on. We'll have to wait and see. But there's a couple drivers there. I'm going to think Kevin Lacroix is definitely very happy to be where he's at right now and very happy to have new tires back on that race car.
Unquestionably, and interesting to see Olivier Bedard, who is alongside of Raphael Lessard to restart this race. Olivier Bedard started 11th and has now found himself in second position on a slightly different strategy, but we'll see how he does under pressure as well, because you know he is going to feel it from behind.
Very much, because look who's right on his back bumper. He's got Alex Labbe, and we know how fast that number 36 race car is and has been all afternoon long here today. So looks like the field bunching up. We're going to get back to green here very, very shortly. It'll be lap 25 when the green flag waves once again.
And it will be Raphael Lessard who will lead the pack, charging into that first turn. Kevin Lacroix wrestles the second spot away from Bedard right here off the drop of the green, and Bedard trying to go right back at Lacroix into turn number 3.
What a fight for second, third, and fourth with Lacroix. Labbe is there, Olivier Bedard, all nose to tail, all trying to keep Raphael Lessard in sight. The best opportunity to pass when the field is bunched up and you have fresh tires. Everyone trying to take advantage of that right now. The first three seem to be stringing out just a little bit. Alex Labbe looking to maintain his position and try to take over and hold on to third spot. He has got Olivier Bedard under challenge, but he is feeling some distress as well.
Yeah, Lapsevich right alongside the 36 of Alex Labbe, and Labbe got really slowed up by the 96 of Olivier Bedard, and Lapsevich almost took advantage but couldn't quite make it stick. I think Lapsevich was pretty much a gentleman in that situation there. He could have forced the issue and gotten into the 36 of Alex Labbe. Now, looks like we're getting a battle at the front. Here comes Lacroix alongside the 4 of Raphael.
Lacroix tried to make a move there in turn number 9, couldn't make it happen. Had to tuck back into line here off of turn 10, and Dave Lacroix is, Lacroix is really trying to turn up the pressure here.
Yeah, I think he likes being out front, and he hasn't been able to wrestle it away from Raphael Lessard yet. Gave him a pretty good push on the first lap after that restart, but seems to have settled things down ever so slightly. Olivier Bedard right behind him, then Alex Labbe, and then Trayton Lapsevich. That is the top 5. Trayton Lapsevich now trying to force the issue once again on Alex Labbe. He's squeezing him over to the left-hand side, trying to get in position, but cannot take the spot away from him yet, but has not relinquished the pressure on Alex Labbe in that 36.
Did you see what started that, though? The 36 of Alex Labbe hammered a curb and actually got up on 2 wheels, then had to go in big-time defensive mode because he knew the 32 would be digging on him in the next turn. But Alex Labbe got away with a lucky one there.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a look at that here as you watch your top 5 cars. Actually, that's a live shot here coming into turn number 8. And, yeah, let's take a look at it here as Labbe, yeah, right there, going into turn 3. You guys called it. Man, 2 tires up in the air. Look at Lapsevich really getting aggressive, trying to take over position number 4.
Good catch there,
and turn
Dave.
3 is a great passing opportunity, but turn 2 is not often a turn that you really attack the curbing here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And I think Alex Labbe was a little caught by surprise when the car reacted the way it did. Now he's going to try again underneath the 96 of Olivier Bedard. This one with less enthusiasm, you could say, and he makes that pass stick. And Bedard now crossways and into the tire wall in turn number 3, possibly contact with the 32 of Trayton Lapsevich.
Absolutely did get touched ever so slightly from behind. Trayton Lapsevich was trying to follow Alex Labbe through that same hole and take over the 4th spot. Olivier Bedard tried to move back over and block and not allow the pass, but it was Lapsevich who was too late to move out of the way or hold up. He touched him just on the rear bumper, sent him off course, and Trayton Lapsevich is the beneficiary of that spot.
And how much of that, Todd, do you think is Trayton Lapsevich, who had cut a couple of brakes here a few laps ago, saying, okay, I'm not cutting brakes anymore.
He was just trying to follow through. There was an opening there, and Olivier Bedard was trying to close it as Trayton Lapsevich was coming through. It's no real fault. They were both trying to go for the same piece of real estate. It was Bedard who wound up with the short end, though.
Yeah, you got to call that a racing deal. There was just two drivers racing for the same piece of real estate in turn number 3, and now we got more trouble. This one on the front straightaway. Not even a turn involved, so I didn't see what happened there, but driver ended up in the wall pretty hard.
So some contact here right on the front straightaway sends one car careening into the fence, and you got to believe that a little bit of frustration starting to set in there for Olivier Bedard.
Yeah, a little bit of frustration that he's gotten pushed around just a little bit, has fallen back from the top 5 and is now feeling the pressure from behind. And it's difficult once you get out of your rhythm to try to find it and get back into that smooth rhythm around the track. You spend time trying to defend, trying to attack, but then you get shunted off course, have a bounce off the tires and try to get back going. It's difficult to get back into the rhythm and then you've got pressure coming from behind, and it's becoming a difficult afternoon for Olivier Bedard as we continue to look up front. The 36 and the 74 doing battle once again, and Alex Labbé wants the spot. Kevin Lacroix is trying to hold on to second.
Lacroix pinching Labbé onto the curbing, so he'll have the inside line through turn number 10. Can Labbé cross back underneath, get a run down the front straightaway into turn number 1? Not quite enough. He'll drop back in line behind the bumper-to-bumper number 74 of Kevin Lacroix. Still everybody chasing the Mobil 1 number 4 of Raphael Lessard, who is your race leader with 29 laps in the books out of scheduled 56.
Guys, it's so intriguing to watch Alex Labbé do his work in his office behind the wheel of that 36 car, because you watch him, Todd, he is so good at setting up passes. I mean, we've seen him go to the outside of corners that you wouldn't normally think a driver would want to go to try and make a pass, but he's just trying to set up for the next corner or 2 corners after that. Just trying to set that driver up.
Trying to make the driver ahead of him think, letting you know that he is there, and perhaps he is being aggressive and going to think about making a move where you wouldn't necessarily expect a pass. You want to take the driver's attention away from the windshield and focus in front of him and have him worry about you. If he's worrying about you, then he's not directing himself properly through the corners as they come ahead of them. But it seems like Kevin Lacroix has crept up a little bit, and now Alex Labbé once again trying to force the issue through the S's. And now Raphael Lessard peels off, and he will make a pit stop along pit road, and it's going to be Lacroix and Labbé and Trayton Lapsevich who take over the top 3 spots. Interesting to see Raphael Lessard make that pit stop now.
Yeah, this is very, very interesting, actually, to see his strategy playing out as the comes in from the top spot. The driver of the number 4 will find his pit stall and get his service done. The lead now goes to the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. The 36 of Alex Labbé doing everything he can to try and get around Kevin Lacroix. That back end of that car has tried to pass the front end several times, the 36 Labbé. He's been on the gas so hard to try and get a run. Unfortunately, the car just not cooperating as much as he would like it to at this point in the race. But look who's lurking there. The 32 of Trayton Lapsevich, who has been quietly solid all race long, and he sits in 3rd spot right now, just waiting for these 2 leaders to mix it up, maybe open up a hole.
Super impressive drive by young Trayton Lapsevich, who has looked very much at home in this car and on this very challenging road course. He's handled himself really well on ovals, short ovals, in stock cars, and working his way up, but looks to be very comfortable on the road course now. So, Dave, let's talk a little bit about the strategy with Alex Labbé, who's gone off in corner number 10.
Oh, he stepped out to try and get a run and maybe diamond the corner off to get underneath the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. He touched the grass, and that was it. Into the tire wall for Alex Labbé.
Oh, what a tough break for Alex Labbé, who seemed to be trying to pressure Kevin Lacroix. He wanted to take over the spot, but wasn't able to do so. He was pushing and trying to get himself going and take over the top spot, as we'll have a look at the onboard replay now. And Labbé is trying to find his way through, but just gets crossed up as he's headed towards corner number 10. light touch of the tires. He gets turned around and pointed in the right direction, but he's lost a bunch of positions and a bunch of track position out on course. But the field will get bunched up again later on. But that is a tough break for Alex Labbe, who was pushing and trying to take over that top spot.
And Dave,
that's a problem.
It didn't look like he missed his mark by much there.
No, he just touched the grass on the outside of the track, and it's a very common mistake to do. You have to put those left side tires so close to the grass in turn number 10 to get a great run through turn 10, carry that momentum on the front straightaway, and hopefully make a pass into turn number 1. When you get it wrong, even by inches, it can really cost you because you're hard on the brakes there. And when you're hard on the brakes and on the grass, it doesn't equal a happy ending. And unfortunately for Alex Labbe, that ending was the tire wall. And so how much damage does that 36 car have? It didn't look to be too bad, but how's it handling now? That's the big question. As Trayton Lapsevich comes down pit lane.
Starting to see another set of pit stops cycle through. We saw Rafael Lessard make his stop on lap 30. This is Trayton Lapsevich making his stop on lap 32. Kevin Lacroix continues out front. This does help Alex Labbe a little bit in that Trayton Lapsevich relinquishes one of the positions ahead of him, but he is a long way behind Kevin Lacroix right now. I'm interested to see where the next round of pit stops cycle through. I'm kind of thinking ahead a little bit. We're starting to see lap 30, lap 32. One more stop will come. Will it come during a competition caution? Will drivers wait until after? Will they be able to make a pit stop before that competition caution and hopefully wind up with track position for the late stages of the race? We saw it play out. Rafael Lessard making pit stops and getting himself up to the front of the field. How's it going to play out later on? But right now, it is Kevin Lacroix who looks to be the class of the field out front and running smoothly with no challenge from behind.
And now Kevin Lacroix is going to take this opportunity. He'll find pit lane. He doesn't want to be the one to roll the dice this time and stay out any longer than he needs to. So he'll find that pit lane speed limit, hit it, and remember, his pit stall is all the way down at the end. And what's interesting here, too, at CTMP is pit lane is downhill. So you really have to watch your speed when you're pitting way down.
So we'll watch Kevin Lacroix, who hits the pit box. Perfect. 2 tires on the car. They'll now go to the right side tires, and of course the right side tires being closer to the pit wall here. Right side tires going on last. Lacroix is down and away. And guys, as Lacroix makes his pit stop and blends back into traffic, taking over the race lead aboard the LaRue Esports 39 is Alex Gannett.
Alex Gannett, who has shown some impressive moves in some of the earlier races. He has shown some speed in a couple of the ovals that we have run on the Canadian Sim Racing Series, but now finds himself out in front. Is it going to be his turn to make his pit stop along pit road after he comes through the long end ready straightaway and through 8-9 and makes the turn onto pit road? We'll wait and see as pit stops begin to cycle through, but Alex Gannett, someone that we saw up near the front of the field at the beginning with third starting position, fell back just a little bit, but now finds himself out front. Probably going to be hearing from him before this afternoon is over.
Yeah, I think he was doing a lot of, here comes the 36 of Alex Labbe, so he'll head down pit lane and potentially make some repairs to that 36 after meeting up with the tire wall not too many laps ago. But we talked about Alex Gannett, and I think he was easing it off at the beginning, just feeling everything out here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park and just letting the feel of the car come to him, and that it has done for sure, especially in the longer runs. He's been able to be in the fray at the end of those longer runs, and that's exactly where you want to be.
So Alex Labbe came down pit lane. 4 tires and fuel was the call for the 36 car, who has led a lot of laps here today, Todd. And does taking 4 tires here, knowing you've got one more stop left, that maybe opens up the window to try a 2-tire stop, maybe just take left sides on that final stop of the day?
It's It's bound to happen by someone. Dave, I think, mentioned it a little bit earlier. We'll probably see someone who will take a chance and maybe only do left side tires later on, as we're watching the 32 of Drayton Lapcevich work his way through 5A and B and out onto the long Andretti backstretch. That's Rafael Lessard, and the Ford, who is in pursuit of Drayton Lapcevich right now. Of course, Lessard came a few laps earlier and has already completed his service, has a few laps on those tires. But someone is bound to try to make the decision and maybe do 2 tires to see if it works. I think Kevin Lacroix, though, Dave, gave us the best example. That Kevin Lacroix off again.
Oh, man.
And he's in the 8. That's big.
And that was a big move, too. I mean, the replay, wait until you see the replay, Todd. Lacroix was trying to make a very aggressive move, and it looks like he's towed right off the racetrack to the pits. Oh, what a big story development that is for Kevin Lacroix.
Wow, that is just, it's a little bit surprising that he would be that aggressive at this point in the race, but it seems to have all gone away for Kevin Lacroix. He found himself in a little bit of traffic, and maybe it was just trying to get out of that and try to clear himself of some of the traffic to keep the leaders in sight. But we'll have a look on the replay, and yes, Kevin Lacroix trying to find his way up the inside, touched the curb, and then it was off and into the tires, and that is a hard hit, Dave. You mentioned that is a big hit.
Yeah, anytime you make contact in turn number 8, it's not going to be a light touch, that's for sure, especially when you go straight in. But you saw he jumped the curb trying to pinch underneath the lap car and keep pace with Rafael Lessard. He was so close to Lessard. Lessard opened up the hole, and Kevin Lacroix thought, well, if it's open, I'm going to take it, and unfortunately closed up at the wrong time.
Oh, look at this battle shaping up here at the front of the pack. You've got the 32 of Drayton Lapcevich there as we get another look, and watch this. Oh, boy. Dave, he didn't get just a little bit of the curb there.
No, he got all of it. When the wheels are off the ground, it's hard to apply the brakes, as Kevin Lacroix found, and then he's bouncing through the grass as well. And there's a big lick into the tire wall. And then here, rub salt in the wounds. Another car comes through and hammers on him.
Man, what a tough break there for Kevin Lacroix, who came into tonight's race. Let's see, he was actually a little further down in the point standings than I thought here coming into tonight.
Yeah, he had a rough race at Charlotte during the last race, so he's had some tough luck during this online series, and he was hoping to get it back here today and was looking great. Unfortunately, that looking great in the early part of this race won't be ending great for the driver this.
And that's the difficulty making your way through such a large field of 44 cars, is you do have to manage traffic. You do want to keep the car ahead of you in sight, especially if you're up near the front the way Kevin Lacroix was, but you do have to manage the traffic. It seemed like there was an opening, but it closed up quickly. He was really trying to squeeze to the inside. He had the right side tires up on the curbing, and in fact, he almost touched the left side tires as well. But just there was no room. It was closing up too quickly, and that is a costly mistake for Kevin Lacroix. But look at the 32 of Drayton Lapcevich, who continues to run up near the front and looks to be having himself a very smooth race and staying away from trouble. He was maybe a little bit aggressive in the early going, but then thought better of it. Maybe we'll just kind of wait and see what we've got near the end of this, but looking very comfortable in that 32 right now.
Yeah, for sure. And now's the time for him to take care of that car and take care of those tires, because he has no pressure from behind. As a matter of fact, he has a lap car between himself and the second place driver. That is the 4 of Rafael Lessard. So in between is Adam Ross in the 35. And so now Lapcevich can look in his mirror and say, okay, I've got a little bit of breathing room. I don't have to attack these corners as hard as I once did. And so I might be able to take care of the tires. So in the event that the pressure does increase on his back bumper, then he does have a little bit left in the tank to fight off that pressure.
Alex Ellis has moved up to third. Again, the winner of our public qualifier from this morning at 11 o'clock. And also, guys, look at Caden Lapcevich, who's now moved into the top 5. He got involved in that early race incident right off the drop of the green flag. What a recovery here. I'm sure strategy playing a part of that here for Caden Lapcevich.
Nice run by the former NASCAR Pinty Series champion, who is, you're right, has had a little bit of trouble early on, but has proven that he can be quick and proven that he can be smooth and gain positions out on course. Sure, strategy will have been a little bit of a role in it, but Caden Lapcevich has proven himself with plenty of on-track and sim racing experience that he knows how to get to the front of the field and is doing it. Wouldn't it be interesting to see the two brothers battling it out in the late stages of this one?
Do you think there would be brother orders between the two?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
I think they'd go harder on each other just because they are brothers.
Taking a look here at the battle between Alex Ellis and the 34, the 4 of Raphael Lessard. And guys, Alex Labey is starting to close in on these guys. That would be a battle for second, third, and fourth. They're about 3.3 seconds behind your race leader, Trayton Lapcevich.
Safe to say Alex is going to be the hard charger of the day, correct?
I think if he can maintain his position somewhere in this vicinity, I think we can definitely give him the hard charger award. He ran a nice race in the qualifier earlier today to find himself up near the front. He was fast. He used the right strategy with the competition caution, and it worked out perfectly for him. And he's had a nice charge through the field here, and again using the pit stop strategy to his benefit, but finds himself with some really good competition directly ahead of him. Raphael Lessard, who has proven that he can be strong, and Alex Labey, that's a pretty nice recovery after that problem that he had earlier coming out of corner number 10. Not as hard as hit as Kevin Lacroix endured, but Labey had his wits about him, jumped back into it, and got back on track, only losing a few positions, and now still finds himself fighting for a position in the top 5 and in contention for the win.
And he has made a pit stop since. And don't forget, we do have another competition caution coming up here very, very shortly, and that'll slow the field. But now at this point, with some of these drivers who pitted late in this green flag run, do they come in during that competition caution, or do they wait and roll the dice, maybe come in during green again?
What kind of track position do you want? Do you want the track position where you make your pit stop early and get out in front of the field, as we see Alex Labey, who does make that charge and get ahead of Alex Ellis now and gets himself up behind Raphael Lessard. Nice move by Alex Labey to squeeze up the inside coming out of the long Andretti straight and through the S's now.
Yeah, that got a little dicey for the 36 under braking, though. He popped out on the downside of that hill, and Ellis did leave the door open, but Labey had to get really, really hard on the brakes, and now he's using that momentum on the front straightaway in through turn number 1, side by side to turn 2. He'll be on the outside of turn 2. That's a tough place to pass, but he pinches the youngster, Raphael Lessard, on the inside, so that'll limit the run that Lessard can get into turn 3. Now look, the 36 has the spot.
And the 34 is following him through, trying to get ahead of Raphael Lessard as well. And Alex Ellis takes advantage of the opening created by Alex Labey. And it is Raphael Lessard who has dropped a couple of positions back. It's going to be interesting to see how these two continue to fight for position, and whether or not Alex Ellis wants to have a go at Alex Labey as well. Raphael Lessard, remember, pitted before these other cars, and his tires are a little bit older. Is that playing a role here? Going to be an interesting fight to watch this one the rest of the way.
Yeah, very much so. Now you have Lessard trying to come back underneath Ellis. He took a look down the back straightaway, not in position to do it in turn number 8. The gap has opened up just a little bit, but if you're Alex Ellis, I mean, a smart place to be is on the back bumper of Alex Labey. You're going to learn an awful lot following that driver. And here comes Lessard down pit lane. So he's going to do the same thing he did before the first competition caution and come in under green and wait for that caution to come out.
The strategy worked well for Raphael Lessard the first time around. Why wouldn't you try it again? Now down to pit speed and creeping along pit road, he comes to a stop and hits his pit stop, and now it'll be left side tires. Will he take just the 2? There's no reason to. He should take just he should take the 4 tires and cycle around towards the front of the field after his pit stop is done, and then we'll get the competition caution. Can Raphael Lessard hang on to it if he finds himself out front again? It's going to be fun to watch this in the last half of this race.
Yeah, very much. I think some of the drivers that you might see take the 2 tires would have to be in probably 8th to 12th, maybe even back into the 15th position. Those are the drivers who have been quick enough, but haven't had the track position to fight for the top spot. So they'll need that track position. So I think they'd be the ones who might be thinking, this is the last chance we have. Let's give it a shot.
Do you come to pit lane now if you're Trayton Lapsevich, or do you stay out on track? I might jump and make my pit stop now just before accepting the competition caution at the front straight.
Yeah, it'd be easy to do, and you wouldn't have too much pressure, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, it can go either way, and I think there are benefits.
Yeah.
And it looks like Lapsevich is going to stay out onto the racetrack, and that will bring us to the lap 42 competition yellow number 2 of the day. And pretty shortly here, they'll be taking the full course yellow flag. Lapsevich continues to lead, but Alex Labbe has definitely closed the gap on Lapsevich here as they wait for the remainder of the field to cross the start-finish line before we get this competition yellow. And look at Labbe closing. Wow.
Yeah, putting a little bit of pressure on the youngster as we get towards the closing laps coming through 5A and B. Alex Labbe, though, looks like he might be letting the fight to wait for another time as he knows that we're getting towards this competition caution. Lapsevich has got a couple of car lengths between he and Labbe down the long and ready straightaway.
Might have been the case where Lapsevich had backed off a little bit because he had no pressure for so long and got into a rhythm, and that rhythm was a little bit slower than what he was pushing earlier on, and that's allowed the 36 to close the gap very, very quickly.
So Trayton Lapsevich comes across the line, yellow flag goes in the air, and guys, we do see a couple of cars that have stepped out of line to hit pit lane, and it looks like Alex Ellis is one of them. The 34 machine of Ellis heading down pit lane 35 miles an hour, and coming down pit lane before everybody else who's taken the yellow flag here can catch up to the pace car and make their pit stop. Guys, an interesting note here, Alex Ellis had never turned a lap in the NASCAR B car until this morning for the public qualifier. He's ran 3 different races today, getting ready for this race tonight. After winning that public qualifier, I believe that was 2 tires and away for Alex Ellis.
He seems to have acclimated himself to these cars very nicely, winning the qualifier earlier today, and then having a really strong run here in this in the feature event here tonight. I'm impressed with how well he has done and how well he has run with some of these really strong contenders. Raphael Lessard, Alex Labbe, Kevin Lacroix. To be in this position at this stage of the race is an impressive run from Alex Ellis.
I was talking to, it was actually a friend of mine who ran the public qualifier earlier on today. Didn't qualify, obviously, but I asked him how the cars felt compared to anything else they've run here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and he admitted that they didn't really turn as well as he thought they should. He thought they pushed a little bit like a dump truck if you didn't set the nose down hard and get the nose to turn, and then even when it did turn, the back end wanted to come around. So they are tricky cars to get a hold of, but when you do get a hold of them, you can make them go very quickly, as Alex Ellis has done here today.
Field working their way into turns 8, 9, and 10. We will cover the yellow flag pit stops here as they will take lap 44 while they work their way down the pit lane, and it's Trayton Lapsevich who is going to make a pit stop with Alex Labbe closely in tow. Again, 35 miles an hour down the pit lane. Final pit stop of the afternoon here for these cars, as they should be able, Todd, to make it the rest of the way.
Fuel should not be an issue. Now it is just make sure that you hit the marks and hit the pit box properly so you can get the service. Then you can make the decision. Is it going to be 2 tires? Is it going to be 4 tires? See the left side tires going up right now, and now we're going to wait and see how many drivers will take 4, or will everybody or someone try to take it with just 2. There's the first car that will make its way out, and that looks like that's Trayton Lapsevich leading Alex Labbe back out on course.
He didn't beat Labbe out of the pits by much, but he did, leading to that line, or getting to that line first, I should say. So the 32 will be your race leader. Labbe will slot into second, so that's going to be a dynamite fight when we go back to green.
So it was Lapsevich, Labbe, Gannett, Caden Lapsevich and Brock Reinhardt, your top 5 off of the pit lane. We'll step aside here on the other side of our break here. We'll talk to your winners of Stage 1 and Stage 2. Stay tuned. You're watching live coverage here from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
Today's race brought to you by Stone Ridge. Let Stone Ridge Specialty Insurance protect your racing assets with liability and off-track coverage for race teams, sponsors, competition vehicles, tools, and equipment. Call Stone Ridge Specialty Insurance today. By LacroixTuning.com, proud title sponsor of the Canadian Sim Racing Series. LacroixTuning.com is the place to shop online for your wheels, suspension, and tire needs. We can even ship you tires mounted on new wheels right at your door. By Storewall.ca. Shop at Storewall.ca for all your garage storage needs. We import and sell premium wall-mounted slat wall storage solutions for home and business. Our complete line of products provides everything you need to efficiently organize and store items in home and commercial spaces. And by Chez Gerard Patat, proud supporter of motorsports for the last 20 years. Gerard Patat wins the race for best fries, hot dogs, and poutine in Quebec. If you ever come by, make a pit stop. You won't regret it.
Welcome back to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park here, round 3 of the Canadian Sim Racing Series. Coming to you here, and we're going to talk to the winner of the second stage here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, Trayton Lapsevich, driver of the 32. And Trayton, you've had a great run here so far, winning that second stage, coming up to that second competition yellow. Talk to us about your run here so far.
Yeah, we've had a pretty good run here. We've played our pitch strategy pretty well so far. So, yeah, we're gonna see how that goes. I'm restarting 4th here, so I'm not sure how that's gonna work into turn 1 and 2. But I just want to keep the car clean, or hopefully make it to the front near the front, or make it to the end near the front.
Has there been any big surprises for you here so far?
I've kind of been surprised. Some of these guys' pitch strategy, they're pitting right before the caution. I don't think 1st, 2nd, and 3rd are going to have enough fuel to make it to the end, but I guess we'll see.
All right, there's Trayton Lapsevich, who wins the second stage here this afternoon. And before they get ready to go back to the green flag, we just wanted to get a quick word here with Alex LeBay, who won the first stage here this afternoon, or this evening, I should say. Alex, congratulations on that first stage win. We're just getting a chance to get a word with you right here.
Hey, thanks, man. No, we're just trying to pace yourself. I know there are a lot of different strategies. We definitely got the fastest car here, but just trying to figure it out, keeping them in one piece, and be there at the end.
It seemed like you were able to really work your way back toward the front of the pack there before that most recent yellow came out. Hopefully you'll be able to do the same here on this last run.
Yeah, for sure. That's the plan. Just trying to go to the smooth to the front and check out. We know we got some really good speed, so we're just trying to make our way to the front and keep the car 100% with no damage.
All right, well, we're coming back to green here. Good luck to you the rest of the way.
Thanks, man.
Well, guys, we got to get a quick word there, Todd, with our first 2 stage winners. Wanted to squeeze those guys in here before we go back to green. Anything that stuck out to you there as we get ready to take the green off turn 10?
I expect lots of action as the green flag waves. The field coming out of corner number 10. It is Raphael Lessard on the gas, and he is on his way. That is Olivier Bedard, who is once again restarting second. What did he learn the first time around when the field was bunched up and he started second? Looks like he's kind of having a peek and maybe wants to have challenge for Raphael Lessard, or at least give him some attention and a little bit of a harder push in the second restart. That is Trayton Lapsevich, who has successfully maneuvered up to third.
I think Bedard has learned not to, leave a gap at all when you're at the front of the pack and go in full attack mode, because he is doing exactly that. He's turned up the heat on the back of the 4 of Raphael Lessard as they work their way through turn number 4 and up into turn number.
Boy, Alex LeBay is all over the back bumper of Trayton Lapsevich as they battle it out here for positions 3 and 4. And just behind them, a great battle going on here with Alex Gannett and Tom Senchek. Now they've left Senchek a little bit. as Gannett's going to try and close in here on Alex LeBay.
A lot of good action up near the front of this field. Rafael Lessard is leading the way. Trayton Lapsevich, Alex LeBay, all in tow, all looking for a position. And Olivier Bedard also running in second in a good position, but he seems to be handling it much better this time around, although Trayton Lapsevich in third seems to be having a peek towards the inside as they're on the front stretch, and Bedard with a big block there.
Was it ever? As Lapsevich went to the wall and Bedard saw what happened, he did the same thing. So he blocks the 32 as they head through turn number 1, and look what that did to the gap they had built up on the 36 of Alex LeBay. It is gone. LeBay is there, and Gannett is in tow as well. So keep an eye on that 39 of Alex Gannett, and there's what you get.
That's right. Yeah. You throw a big block like that. Oh, yeah, and now Bedard has been punted a number of times with traffic coming through, but you throw a big block like that, you're going to feel the heat from behind, as Olivier Bedard did. He blew through an enormous block on the front stretch of in front of Caden Lapsevich, as you see the field streaming around through now, through 5A and 5B, and Rafael Lessard is enjoying this because it's given him a bit of a gap. Now back to Alex LeBay, who looks like he has taken over the second spot after all that action.
Now have a look. Here's the block. So Lapsevich makes the move to the inside, and Bedard joins him to the inside, almost below that white line going into turn number 1. So now he'll have 0 speed off of turn number 1. The gap closes behind them, and Lapsevich says, okay, enough of this. He waits till turn number 3, and that's when he enacts his payback. Here he is. So Bedard opens the inside again, closes the door, and Lapsevich just doesn't really lift that much.
And it kind of knocked Lapsevich back an additional spot. He's going to slide back to 4th. And Todd, I can't imagine that Alex LeBay's eyes didn't look like saucers when that happened, because LeBay was quickly able to move up from 4th up to 2nd, trying to chase Lessard now for the lead.
Absolutely, and LeBay told us during that caution period that he believes he has the fastest car. Now he's going to get a chance to prove it, to see if he can run down Rafael Lessard, who you'll remember made his pit stop before that competition caution. So he will have tires that aren't quite as fresh as those of Alex LeBay, who seems to be on the hunt for him as we're headed towards the S's now. That is Alex LeBay in second spot and looking for Rafael Lessard in first.
So LeBay will chase him up the Mario Andretti stretch here, as we're taking a look at a couple of cars back in the pack here. Getting a look here at the 11 of Tom Senchek, who's got a little bit of damage on the rear bumper of the 11 car.
He's currently 6th. He restarted this race 3rd, but got bumped around a little bit by Olivier Bedard as they were trying to find their way through off that restart. But Senchek has fallen back a number of positions.
Caden Lapsevich back up in the fray, as we mentioned as well. The early race problems that the driver, the number 76, had seem to be a long-forgotten memory at this point, as Lapsevich, the other Lapsevich that we haven't talked about as much this race, but definitely a talented Lapsevich in his own right, the 76, the older one compared to Trayton, now back up inside the top 5 and having a decent tilt. So there's still plenty of laps left to make a run for the 76 of Caden Lapsevich.
Battle for the lead, guys, is intensifying as Alex LeBay has closed up within a car length of Rafael Lessard. Tried to make a move that time through turns 5A and 5B as they now work up the backstretch. And it is LeBay trying to put on an effort here to get the lead away from Rafael Lessard.
Good fight through corner number 1. Alex LeBay trying to pressure Rafael Lessard a little bit. He gets closer to that rear bumper as they head to corner 2, the off-camber corner that you require a lot of trust to go through. A good place to pressure someone ahead of you to try to get them off their game, and watch for Alex LeBay looking for an opportunity to get around Rafael Lessard.
And you know what Alex LeBay has? And now he does get around the 4 of Rafael Lessard. I was going to say he has confidence in his back pocket, because Alex LeBay knows he has the fastest car in this field. He said it when we checked in with him during that last competition caution. He said, all I want to do is get to the front with minimal damage, and now he has done that. So watch the driver of the 36 set sail from here on.
And we're going to get a look here in just a moment, Todd, of that pass for the lead as LeBay was able to get by Lessard, and here it is.
Oh, yes, coming around out of corner 10 onto the front stretch. They get beside each other in corner number 1, and it's a fairly easy pass for Alex LeBay, who puts his foot down, gets that power off the corner, and finds himself now in front. And can he get away from Raphael Lessard and hide the rest of the way? He's already starting to leg out a bit of a gap as they head down the backstretch.
Yeah, he sat on pole earlier on today, qualified top spot, so you know that car is fast, and he's led an awful lot of laps here today. He hasn't really been tested throughout this race when he has been out in front, and that's exactly where we find the driver of the 36 right now. So Alex LeBay will be smiling because he's looking at his mirror and watching the driver of the 4 get smaller and smaller.
So LeBay with the top spot, Raphael Lessard running in 2. Alex Gannett right now, 3rd place in the 39 machine, doing a great job here. Caden Lapsevich, we've talked about his effort coming back from an early race incident, running in 4. And right now, Justin Arseno in the 7 car has started 17th, is up to 5th.
That's a nice run for Arsenault to survive a lot of the action that has been taking place out on course, especially on that last restart. We had Olivier Bedard spinning to get around that problem and find his way through. That is a nice run, and good for Caden Lapsevich, too, ahead of him in the 4th position to have a solid run. Fell back a little bit after the start of the race, started 7th, fell back a little bit, had some troubles in the early going, but has found himself back up in a very good position in the late stages of this race.
I love watching those onboard cameras where you get to see the steering wheel in the driver's hands, because you can see early in the run how calm those hands are and how well those cars are sticking. And later in the runs, now with the tires heated up and worn out in a lot of cases, the steering wheel is moving a lot, the hands are moving a lot.
Nice run by the 42 car. That is Mackenzie Corrins, who also has had a nice run in today, who started this race 41st and currently running 7th. Dave, he might be giving Alex Ellis a run for that hard charger spot you were talking about. Ellis, last I saw, was running about 13th, so it might be Mackenzie Corrins who is taking over that hard charger position.
Yeah, you're right. Very clean nose on that 42 car, so he's done it pretty much without making too much contact coming up through this field. What a lot of these drivers can't say. There's been a lot of contact in this race, but it's been exciting. We promised an exciting race, and it's been exciting.
And Dave, you've asked for it, and it looks like you're going to get it here. We're going to do a split screen and ride on board with Alex LeBay, and let's watch those hands do the work here behind the wheel of the 36 machine as he works up the backstretch. And let's watch him as you see him on the left side with the TV cameras, and then you're going to ride on board with him here on the bottom right of the screen.
Now keep in mind, this is a very, very good handling race car, and even he has a couple wiggles as he makes his way through turn number 9, set sail for turn 10. That's where he had problems earlier on in this race. It's really been his only one miscue this entire race distance. He'll click off another lap as your race leader, but watch into turn number 1. Super smooth.
He doesn't seem to be babying that car at all, even though he is out front and increasing the gap on the second place runner, Raphael Lessard. He is still hard charging in the late stages of this race with 53 laps down. Alex LeBay is stretching out that lead over these final laps over Raphael Lessard. He doesn't seem to be managing that position at all, and maybe throttling back ever so slightly on some of these more challenging corners.
No, he's ramping up attack mode for sure. Watch him as he goes hard into braking in turn number 5. Look at the steering input he puts in. 5B now. He'll need a good run out of this one. Touches the curb just a little bit. Hard on the gas there. You can see the tack jump up and hit the top of the revs before he grabs another gear and heads back down the Andretti straightaway. But that is a clinic being put on here by Alex LeBay this evening.
And I'm sure it didn't come as much of a surprise to you guys, but as a guy who has come from the dirt racing world myself, I mean, Alex LeBay looked like he was dirt tracking it coming off of turn 10. I mean, essentially turning left to go right through that final corner. Just incredible stuff there from LeBay.
And it looks like Rafael Lessard is feeling a little bit of pressure from behind as well from Alex Gannett in that number 39. The Alex Labbe has checked out and gone away, but that battle is heating up for second spot with Alex Gannett wanting it. Rafael Lessard trying to hold on to it, feeling the pressure now from Alex Gannett, who making his way through corner number 2 and that left-hander. Rafael Lessard seems to be going a little bit wider, and those tires maybe a little bit older, starting to give up in the late stages of this race. Gannett trying to keep the pressure on as they head to corner 3.
He's the most consistent driver we've had in this sim series so far, probably the driver that 4. Rafael Lessard has been on the podium the first 2 starts of this series, and he stands to take another podium here today if all holds true, but looks like Alex Gannett is not going to make it easy on him in the final few laps of this event, but it's been a fairly clean run for the driver of the Mobil 1 number 4.
Up the back stretch they go. Gannett trying to chase down the Rafael Lessard here, and if he's able to get by, potentially Alex Gannett going to make it a 1-2 finish here for LaRue Esports as he makes an aggressive move down to the bottom of turn 8, and boy, got all sorts of out of shape there in 8.
That was some serious work by Alex Gannett to hang on to that car. He looked like he was headed off course, but he managed to hang on to it and didn't lose that much ground to Rafael Lessard. There's a little bit of a gap now, but Gannett still has time to make one more charge and try for that second position.
I'm surprised that Rafael Lessard defended that move so aggressively as he did, because remember, he stands to take over the points lead if he finishes where he is or around where he is. If he finishes back further in the field with a wrecked race car, that's going to do him no favors in the point standings, and he almost ended up that way if Alex Gannett kept his...
Watching this great battle for position number 2, but 6.4 seconds ahead of them. Alex Labbe starts to pull away as he works up the backstretch, but this is still a great battle for 2, with Lessard trying to hold off Alex Gannett for the runner-up spot, as Labbe is going to start to work his way into turns 8, 9, and 10, coming to the white flag this time by.
Lessard feeling the heat once again from Alex Gannett, who looks to the outside, but Lessard seems to have his car positioned well at the moment. Can Gannett get up alongside? If those two have trouble, that is Caden Lapsevich waiting to see what opportunities might present to him. Lessard holds the position through 8 and 9, and is Gannett going to try to push the issue now as they get to 10?
Yep, and there goes the 4 sliding into the grass. But Lessard avoids the tire while he'll manage to keep going, but he's lost now a couple spots because of that touch from Alex Gannett. But Gannett had to do it. The hole was there. He had the nose in there. This time he needed to take that position, because if he didn't do it, the 32 was going to cap.
Oh, and look how wide Gannett that went that time through turns 2 and 3, and now they'll start to make that effort towards turn number 4 and then 5A and B.
White flag is out. We'll see the challenge if Caden Lapsevich has got it for Alex Gannett or not as they continue to make their way around the course. Alex Labbe has checked out and has given plenty of room to those competitors. It is Alex Gannett feeling the heat right now from behind from Caden Lapsevich, and is he going to be able to hold him off for second position? Alex Labbe well out in front of this battle.
And you're right, it is Caden Lapsevich, not Trayton Lapsevich. The cars with very similar paint schemes, but it is Caden who's in that position. And here is your race leader as he makes his way through the final turns through number 10, and he'll see the checkered flag this time.
Alex Labbe starts from the pole position, and he will win round number 3 of the Canadian Sim Racing Series here from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. The battle for second is a drag race to the line. Who's going to get it? Alex Gannett gets it by 3/1000ths of a second. What a close finish.
Caden Lapsevich pushed him up a little bit wide coming out of corner number 10, got alongside on the inside of the track, and it was exactly that. It was a drag race to the start-finish line with Alex Gannett probably by an extra coat of paint or 2 just getting the second place finish ahead of Caden Lapsevich. Terrific effort by Caden Lapsevich trying to make that pass in the closing lap.
And you know what? All's fair in love and war. Caden Lapsevich made that move. Alex Gannett was saying, I'm going to defend this to the inch of my life. So it was a drag race with an arm wrestle thrown in just for fun, right to the checkered flag. And what a finish for second. All this way behind your race winner, Alex Labbé. But what an event.
What a great finish here this evening for round number 3. And 4 1,000ths of a second for that second place effort for Alex Gannett. Guys, we're quickly going to be able to get a word here with our top 3 finishers, and I think we're going to start it off here with Caden Lapcevich, who brought that 76 car home in position number 3 here tonight. Caden, who had to come back from a problem right off the drop of the green flag here this evening. And Caden, first off, congratulations here on a third-place effort and we're going to see this finish here before we get a word from Caden. Watch this slow-mo as the cars come across the line. Wow, just by that much, guys. Just incredible. But Caden Lapcevich comes home third here tonight. And Caden, we talked about it and we documented it. You had yourself a busy race here aboard the 76 trying to come back to the front.
Yeah, it was I didn't want to be in that position, but we had a little bit of computer issues like right off the hop. It couldn't have happened at a worse time. We come off of turn 10 there to take the green and my screen froze. Then when I came back, I was spinning and flipping and I was blowing up and it was just wild. But we fought. My spotter Jake Watson kept me motivated, kept me calm, cool, collected, and I had the run of my life there, I think, on the sim.
Terrific run, Caden, to climb back through the field. And tell me about the move going through corner 10, trying to take that second place spot and coming up just so short on Alex Gannett. Tell me about the last turn.
I was going to just sort of leave it because that section, there wasn't really a spot I can make a clean move. It's a tough, tight section, but he bobbled a little bit through 8, which allowed me to get to him. And then I just got a really good run off 9, bounced it off the curve, dove it to the inside of 10, and man, we just dragged race. It was clean. It was fun. It was anything you could ask for in an iRace.
Caden, does your previous experience in the NASCAR Pinty Series come into play when you're racing here? Does that all come back to you? The places to pass, your little secret tips and tricks you figured out?
Yeah, some of the stuff that you learn in real life here you can use. Like getting off a good run off of 2 down into 3 to be able to outbrake somebody. But with real life, it's a lot easier because you have that extra runoff area that the guys at CTMP added. So there's a little bit more leeway. It's not as big of an issue if you make a mistake. But I played my cards right there, picked the right strategy, passed where I knew I could do it without losing time. I think I ran a really good race other than the issue we had at the start.
Well, Caden, it was an incredible effort for you to get back up here onto the podium here this evening at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Tell us about the folks that are behind this effort for you here with the 76 machine.
I got to thank Renamato, his group there, for sponsoring this event. You guys for doing the broadcast. Adam Ross and his crew for putting this series on. All my sponsors, Reinhardt Auctions, Ace Services, the local skate shop. I'm probably missing one, but everybody that helps me with testing, and hopefully we can maintain this momentum here going through the last couple of races.
Well, a great run for you here this evening, and we'll be turning right and left again next week, so we'll see you there for it.
Thank you.
All right, there's Caden Lapcevich coming home in the third spot here, and I'm going to turn it over to Dave Bradley, who's catching up here with Alex Gannett, who comes home in second this evening.
Alex Gannett, a heck of a run for you here today. You started up front, you fell back a little bit, but take us through your race and especially that last lap with the 7.
Yeah, I had a blast. I was looking for a good run here. I hadn't the past 2 races. I had some issues. I had bad luck, so it felt good to have a good run here. I fell back a little bit. It's hard to pass. Track position here is big, so I'm glad the pit strategy worked out. Pretty good for us. And at the end there, it was a wild ride. I had a pretty decent gap on Lapcevich, but me and Lassard were fighting, and me and Ralph, we've been racing and we've raced each other quite a few times, and I know it's always clean, but we hit each other a little bit there at the end of the back stretch, but it was a good time. Lapsevich caught us, and at the end there, I made a mistake. I missed my shifting. I downshifted at the wrong place, and I lost a bit of time. And he was able to. I knew he was probably going to make the dive there. But he was very clean on his part, man. It's what you can expect. It's part of road racing here, and it was a clean move. He did what he had to, and I guess I just got the better end of it.
Alex, it looked like on corner 10 you were trying to drift, and I don't know if you're trying to hold hands with Caden and stay ahead of him, but it was a drag race from 10 to the start-finish line for that second spot.
Yeah, that was really cool. I'm glad I edged him out there. I would have hated myself there for a few hours if because like I said, I didn't make a mistake that put him in the position to make that move. So I'm glad I ended up getting the better end of that.
One story that I think is worth noting here, Alex, as well, a 1-2 finish for you and Alex LeBay here this evening. That's got to be pretty cool for the team. Yeah,
we're real happy that the whole LaRue Esports guys we're working hard every week, doing a lot of testing and stuff like that. And I'm glad Alex is very hard to beat on those road courses. But yeah, I'm happy to finish. I'm happy with the second spot to Alex. I'm happy for the whole team. All the guys, I think they ran into a couple of issues. The other guys on the team, Will and John, but I think they were still happy with the speed they had here.
Do you guys share information back and forth with all the tests?
Oh yeah, for sure. John and Will do a lot of testing during the week, and they share a lot of info with me and Alex. And during the race also we discuss pit strategies and stuff like that.
Well, Alex, let us know about the folks that help make the efforts happen for you here on the 39 machine.
Yeah, well, all the LaRue guys, I race with them in real life, so to say, and in the late model. They just built a brand new car, so I'm looking forward to running in that new late model 48. And yeah, the whole LaRue Esport team, and the actual LaRue team in real life also. And my sponsors, my parents, Moto Limité, DLGL, and you guys also for making this great broadcast.
Comes into the night 12th in the point standings. Alex going to do himself all sorts of good here in the points. Congratulations on a great effort.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's send it down to Victory Lane, where Todd Lewis has Alex LeBay, tonight's race winner.
Congratulations, Alex. You drove away from the competition once you got yourself out in front. You told us during the final caution, the full course caution, that you had the fastest car, just needed to keep your nose clean. And once you got out front, you showed you had the fastest car.
Yeah, for sure. We executed pretty good there at the end. I just wanted to get that track position. I messed up a little bit on that second stage. I thought it was 45, lap 45, but it was lap 42. So I wanted to pit short pit like these guys did a lot earlier and just get that track position because knew we had good speed, but it still worked out there at the end. We just tried to stay, keep our head cool and just wait for the right opportunity and take the lead and drive away, and it all worked out good.
And you get the win tonight. That's going to help you in this points championship too. You were fourth coming into the night, so you should gain a little bit here.
I think it'll be pretty good. Raphael's pretty good week in, week out. He's really steady. He's always up there in top 5, top 3. So we're just gonna get closer with him. But next week it's Montreal. I hope I can find a rig because I'm going to race Darlington on Tuesday, so I'm going to be in Florida next weekend. So just hope I can get a rig and race next Sunday with you.
Yeah, hopefully we can help you find one, because we'd hate to see you miss the race for sure. You've been exciting in every single start you've made so far this year. But tell us about this one. When you did get out in front, you were there a couple of times during this race. Were you on cruise control at all, or were you just always in full attack mode?
Once I got the lead, I was not cruise control, but probably 95%. You just want to get everything you can, just build a little safe gap so you can get I really like to put 4 tires every time I come in on pit road. I know guys played around a little bit, putting 2 and get a track position, but I felt like if I had 4, I could just drive to the front. And sometimes it was a little more risky because it was a little sketchy sometimes in traffic, but in the end, it all worked out good.
Well, Alex, you put together quite a run here. Your teammate comes home in two. A really good night for the team overall here tonight at CTMP, which is wrapping up a great weekend of action virtually here this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we practice a lot, me and Alex and all the other guys, Will and John and the team, and really happy for Alex. He held on to that P2 there at the end, did a good job, and it's always fun when you got your friends and teammates around you on a victory.
Well, Alex, certainly going to be a great points night for you as well, coming into the night, fourth in the standings. Going to pick up a few markers here as you and Raphael going to make a great run of it here with 2 races to go. Alex, tell us about all the marketing partners that help make this whole effort happen for you in the 36 car.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody that's on board this year. Global Cam, I got Global Cam, Hotel Concord, Russo Metal, GBI, Festi Drag, Silver Wax, Spin Art Simulation. Everybody that's a part of this team. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I'm going to be back at Darlington on Tuesday with them, and just trying to build on something. Just trying to go to the racetrack week in, week out, and try to outperform our equipment and make the most out of it. It's always a blast.
Well, good luck to you there at Darlington. We know that you've got a whole lot of fans here on the virtual side of the racing world that'll be rooting you on. We can't wait to watch it.
Thanks, man. Talk to you later.
All right, guys, there's Alex LeBay who comes home with the win here. And Todd, what a race we saw here tonight. And I knew we didn't expect any less of what we saw.
No, we knew we'd have lots of action on this fantastic course at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. We had plenty of it. We saw some young drivers with really good runs. Caden Lapsevich coming up with a podium finish. His brother Trayton Lapsevich, who's even younger, also had a very strong run before having a little bit of difficulty in the late going. But Alex LeBay shows strong on the course and did so again tonight.
Dave, how about your takeaways here tonight?
I mean, it was all Alex LeBay, but the action was intense throughout this field, and this track just lends itself well to good stock car races. I just love watching full-bodied stock cars duke it out here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park because they never disappoint, and they didn't disappoint virtually here.
Well, I want to thank everybody here from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park that has welcomed us in here this weekend, a full weekend of action, all coming to a crescendo here tonight with the LaCroixTuning.com Canadian Sim Racing Series. Of course, tonight just the first of 2 events in the Reno Matto group of companies Twin 200s Road Race Challenge. We head to another road course next weekend. You're going to see it live here at 9 o'clock here on GeForce TV as the 4th round of the Canadian Sim Racing Series kicks off. Don't forget, you can find us online on Facebook at Canadian Sim Racing Series, as well as CanadianSimRacingSeries.com. For Adam Ross, Clinton Jeffrey, and the entire staff here, Brad Ovens and Spencer Mullen working behind the scenes. On behalf of my co-announcers, Dave Bradley and Todd Lewis, my name is Steve Ovens saying thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you next Sunday night at 9 o'clock for round 4 of the Canadian Sim Racing Series. From Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, congratulations to Alex LeBay.
Introducing GeForce TV. GeForceTV.net is your new source for action overload. Featuring free live programming year-round and countless hours of on-demand video, GeForce TV will be your first stop whenever you want to see the latest and hottest racing action. See live Friday Night Excitement weekly from Washouican Speedway, and watch the stars of tomorrow make a name for themselves during Thursday night's live microsprint racing. GeForce TV is also the new home for Rivals Race Chat. Watch weekly as Clinton Jeffrey and Adam Ross discuss all the hot topics in the world of motorsports. For iRacing fans, GeForce TV has you covered with hours of live broadcasting from Rivals and GeForce TV racing leagues. GeForce TV promises to deliver motorsports, esports, and action sports you want to see, along with talk shows and vlogs to keep you connected to the lifestyle you love. Visit GeForceTV.net today to subscribe for free. Sit back, hold on, and feel the G's on GeForce TV.